whereas you're trying to protect the institution of marriage, but but marriage in itself is indulgence. How do you address the issue of marriage within the church and HIV infections within the married couples without looking at the aspect of access to condoms?
I think we should go back a little bit to see how best we can educate, first of all, our kids to understand what marriage and family life is all about. And also I think that sexual education is a must today, so that we can really understand the gift of God that is to be nurtured and that is got to be honored in marriage life. So we've got there a high responsibility of educating, of instructing our children. It is through them that we can really uphold the values of marriage. This is important. Then the second thing, marriage preparation does not start only a few months before. I think it should start with adolescents when they are having a vision of their life, and the church should not really, and you know, as Anglicans we value very much the place of reason when you live up to your faith. So we've got to give people space to really express themselves, and we live in a postmodern world today, and we are invaded by all sorts of information. So we've got to have a frank conversation with our young people today. At the same time, we've got also to trust them. So when you educate them properly, and that you give them the trust that they need, I think we can change this well. Yeah.
I'm still struggling.
I feel that, of course, there is this policy of ABC. Although we have gone beyond that right now, but abstaining for those who are not married, or those who don't have partners is very important, and we must teach this without mincing our words. And the married ones, be faithful to your spouse. This is very important. Some people call it zero grazing. It must be zero grazing. Really, if we want to be men and women of integrity in matters of marriage, we must be faithful to the married couple, must be faithful to each other. And this is what will save this nation. And I think the leadership, people in the leadership, should be role models in this. And let everybody who is married stick to his wife or husband, and then this can minimize it. But people would say, we are people, we cannot make it. But God gives us strength to do it, because we have got to fight with this scourge. It's actually what we call ushikwapo shikamana situation, and we must be serious about it.
You didn't talk about the C? You say ABC?
ABC, condom, of course, condom. Sometimes, I call it counseling, because the counselors will counsel the people, and they will know exactly what to tell these people and what to give. This is important.
The numbers are on the screens: 07136000930. Call us with a comment or a question to our panelists. I'm struggling, both bishops, in terms of engaging more with former heads of state than existing government officials, and also churches as well, in terms of churches that have a difficulty in accepting that HIV is real and has got to be fought, and perhaps being a little more flexible in how to tackle the issue. Shouldn't you engage more with those than former heads of state, who in your preface you mentioned that they are more of role models than?
I think this is the first step towards fostering collaborative leadership. So I think that people like the former president of Tanzania, and Dr. Hamid Salim Ahmed from OAU, I've got the competence and the experience and the wisdom that we need today, so that we can then address some issues with other stakeholders of the African continent. And I think this is the first step, and I am proud that the church is the one leading into collaborative leadership today on the continent. So it is important that we get the business, social leaders of this continent to, and other religious leaders to harness all the potentialities of leadership. So that, and then the other thing is that we've got to trust that the continent has got the competence, has got the values, has got the principles to be able to alleviate itself and liberate itself from the social evils.
We have a call from Nairobi, Wanjia. Wanjia, hi.
How are you?
I'm good, and good morning. Welcome to the Power Breakfast. So you have a question or a comment?
Okay, Jimmy. Now, I'm asking a very simple question.
Yes.
I really want to know their mission and vision about what they're doing.
Their mission and?
Whatever they're doing, the mission and the vision. So I really wanted to know their mission and vision, because there must be, there is where they want to be, and there is the target of what they're doing. Please.
Yes, your mission and vision.
Yes.
But that's for this conference.
Yeah, well, what the person is asking, after this 2 days meeting,
Yes.
what do you expect to achieve?
Yesterday we had a wonderful experience having the presence of some young people who are orphans and being taken care by the Anglican Church St. Nicholas Orphanage, and we have had an insight of the plight of our children here being victims of AIDS. And today we are just going a little bit deeper in our reflection to see how best we can come out with a strategy that would help us not only to cater for victims of AIDS, but to see the implications that goes with it, and what type of program we can really devise to help our communities to be empowered. This is what, when we talk about collaborative leadership, we don't only talk about church leadership or political leadership. We want the community to be involved with it.
When I listen to our radio stations, and this country now has more than 50 radio stations, and very impactful. I do not know how you intend, your church is using the radio and other mass media to educate the population, particularly young people, about AIDS. Because when I listen to the FM, all I hear is about sex and sex and sex and sex, and why kind of ridiculous questions they ask about, which they are not useful to anybody. How do you intend to change that so that we have our own values, the way he's talking about, our own principles, our own values, apart from mapping the West and playing Western music and talking and encouraging what you don't like?
It's true that the church would to make use of radios, the media, and speak openly and loud and clear about HIV and AIDS, and also the place of sex in our lives, because this is very essential, and this is a matter of concern, as you have said, and I know some of the churches are already doing that, and they are in the forefront as far as this is concerned. And occasionally we do have occasions of speaking about these subjects, sex and education, and also how to take ourselves and carry ourselves in this area. And it is very important that we intensify our efforts in this area. That is a good challenge.